Sorry. Okay. So tonight's special guest is Enrique Torres from Diablo Paso. I not familiar with his tasting room. Never been there, but I've tasted the wines that he's so nicely and graciously sent to us, and they're very, very good, very good.
Thank
So
you.
what we'd like to do is to start, and Jason's going to start with the interview, and we'll go from there. See where your journey takes us.
All right. Thanks.
Jason.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Enrique, thank you. I'm enjoying your 2019 Tempranillo this evening. It's fantastic. Oh,
21.
Mike, you got the 21, huh?
Yeah, I'll send you guys a different vintage. That way you guys have something a little different.
Well
Yeah.
done.
Oh, that was tricky.
Thank you for having me. I'm really, really happy to be part of this. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we are excited to have you here and appreciate your time. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Enrique, we kind of go through uh, the rhythm of talking to you about your personal background, your personal story, and then we'll transition into the business. And then kind of early on, Mike's going to interject with a fun little uh, game, shall we call it. But to get started, I understand you moved to the States from Mexico in 2001. Is that right?
Correct. Correct.
You were
Yeah.
like 3 years old, I'm guessing, something like that. 4 years
Almost
old.
there, right?
um, and immediately went to work for a winery,
That's right.
uh, which is funny because we often take this time to talk about what did you do before wine. You kind of went straight in.
Yeah, basically, and back in Mexico, I did work in restaurant industry. Uh, I bus tables, work in the bar, I work in the kitchen, I do all kind of stuff in the restaurant. A young age, I started working in the industry, in the restaurant industry since part-time, since I was 15 years old.
So you
And
so you knew hospitality early on.
correct. Yeah, so that was what I used to do. And when I came here, my goal was like, well, I'm gonna learn the language and I'm gonna become a bartender maybe or something. But I got hooked out harvest, and here I am celebrating my, is it 23rd harvest or something like that?
Wow.
And
Wow.
I just fall in love with that. And like, no, restaurant is not my thing. When I go to a restaurant, I want to go be the client. Yeah.
At the restaurant. So we've talked to a lot of winemakers that got exposure to wine through restaurants. Was that your case too, or was it not as much wine there?
It wasn't that much wine. There was obviously Cabernet Sauvignon and Chardonnay. I remember those very clear. But that's what's pretty much it, what we carry in the restaurant where I used to work. And I didn't enjoy them that much, like now,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. Was
Uh,
mostly like hard liquors and stuff like that. Yeah. And beer.
which is why you were thinking bartender at the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you come to Paso, you start working for Martin and Weyrich.
Yeah. Martin and Warwick was one of the original wineries in Paso, I believe, at least one of the 20 wineries from the beginning in Paso. I think they established in the 1980, 81, and they used to be called Martin and Brothers. And they changed it, I think, late 80s to Martin and Warwick. And they specialize not Spanish, Italian varieties actually. So I learned about Nebbiolo, Barbera, Sangiovese, all that stuff. But they also introduced the Tempranillo, which is my passion grape. Yeah. But I
Well,
started there. Go ahead. Yeah.
no. You go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I started there in Harvest 2001, and I just like I love it. I know it was very intense because as a cellar rat, you do pretty much everything: punch downs, dragging hoses, cleaning tanks, all that stuff. But I really fell in love with it, and I got lucky that they hired me as a full-time employee after Harvest was over because originally they hired me only as an intern, a cellar rat I call. And the winemakers like me, so they offered me a full-time job. And here I am. I haven't missed one harvest since that.
So this is an interesting learning for me, at least. In the 80s, they were doing Italian varietals here at that.
Yeah, they actually the Martin and Warwick, the Martin and brothers focus on Nebbiolo. Nebbiolo actually they were producing, I believe we were producing at least 3,500 to 4,000 cases a year of that stuff.
Wow.
They were pretty big with us with that variety, especially and those uh those wines I remember were distributed to all over the states. But I'm not sure anyone remembers the test run used to be where San Antonio test runs is now in
Yeah.
46. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what they did.
Well,
We
that's
did a lot of
fascinating.
Moscato.
You mean
Yeah.
right off the 101 there, right? Yeah.
46, Highway 46, right
Oh,
by La Quinta.
okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, that restaurant used to be Martin Warwick. Yeah.
So I just looked them up. They're in Paso. Are they still, does it still exist as a business or?
I believe a big company bought them when they had the issues, and back in 2010, I believe was O'Neill Distillery bought the brand, and I assume they're still making wine under that brand. I haven't seen it around, but O'Neill is a big company. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
they
interesting.
bought it basically for a wine was called Moscato Allegro. So that wine we produce in about 50 to 70,000 cases of that, just of that
Wow.
specific variety. Yeah.
I mean, at that time, you certainly heard a lot about Zen and Cab, but not so much Italian varietals. That's interesting.
Yeah, we also were producing the Zinfandel, which is what they would call there's another
Primitiva.
name for it. Yes,
Primitivo. Yeah.
Primitivo. Yes, so they were producing that as well, but Cabernet as well. They're blended with a little bit of Sangiovese and Petitera, so they call it Insieme. And yeah, their main goal was Italian varieties. And I love a good Nebbiolo. In fact, I made Nebbiolo for my second brand that's called Maxinico, just like 2, 3 barrels every 2, 3 years or so. And my last vintage I just bottled in 2020 vintage from Raba Vineyard here in Paso. So I sourced like a couple tons. I made like 3 barrels of that. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's going to sound crazy, but I'm gonna pull us away from the wine business again for a second because we're going to come back to it. Because the
Okay.
objective here is we want everybody to know you because we know that makes a difference as they connect to a winery. And so I know now that you're deep into the wine business, you don't probably have a lot of free time. So whether it's your earlier years or if you do get free time now, what are some kind of off time things that you would enjoy doing?
For me, usually try to enjoy my family, my kids especially. I love to spend time with friends and stuff like that. I also love my time by myself. I really enjoy, if I'm gonna choose to be by myself, I really enjoy fishing. Fishing is something that relax me, and it's just like fishing is like you don't catch fish, but it's you're there fishing, right? And that's the way I see it. I really need that actually because I haven't been doing it for a while. Uh, but I love
Salt
that
water or
family.
fresh water?
I like both. Actually, I grew up fishing in both, and I enjoy both for sure. And I always have this rule. I tell my kids that like we don't keep freshwater fish, we put it back in the water, and then the ocean is a different story, with the rules. But family is very important for me. I'm a family and I got two boys. My older son is Max. He's 19 years old. He's in community college, and my younger son is Nico, which is we have one of the wines named after him, and he's like a junior high. So I see them every day. We don't live together anymore, but I try to be part of their life as much as I could. Yeah,
Nice.
and wine is a big part of my life too. Have a day off, I always drink wine.
Well, on that note, what is your favorite non-wine adult beverage?
I enjoy a light, refreshing beer. Uh, I really enjoy those. I'm not into hard liquor until lately. I started liking tequila with ice, which is really strange. Pure with ice. One or
Oh,
two, and that put me to bed. I'm happy with that. But I'd say a lighter beer. I really enjoy. I'm not into cocktails that much because there's sugar. Um, I
yeah.
don't enjoy them as much, but I say a light beer and
Do you have a
tequila
go?
probably.
Do you have a go-to beer?
I I really enjoy the Modelo or Stella.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Stella try a lot. That's lighter, it's refreshing, so I kind of like that style. Yeah, yeah.
Well, Mike, I feel like we need some intro music, but I'm going to turn it over to you for a new fun game
Okay,
featured by with your host, Mike Adams.
all right.
So we kind of started with this last time, so bear with me.
Okay.
So, should we learn a little something about you?
Mhm.
Lake or ocean? The fishing tied right into it.
Lake Russian fishing type. Uh,
It's a preference.
yeah, Lake Russian is
There's no
the
wrong
hooks.
answer.
There's no
I
wrong
don't have
answer.
an answer.
Whatever comes off the top of your head quickly. That's all.
Lake Russian is well, it usually happen with my hooks. I don't clean dry them. That makes sense.
Yeah, I guess. Pizza or pasta?
Pasta.
Road trip or plane trip?
Road trip.
Good. It's Halloween week month. Horror or comedy?
Comedy problem.
Laundry or dishes?
Wait, is
Uh,
that what's better or what's worse?
you know, I dislike both of them, but I'm gonna say I'm
There's no
probably
good
gonna
choice.
say
There's no good choice here.
no, that's not a good one. I'll say 50-50.
Good answer.
Okay, this is a little more pithy. Change the past or see the future?
Ooh,
See the future.
that's deep.
Very good.
Yeah.
Jason,
Can change the past.
Is that a wrap?
thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
And that was the new segment called This or That by
Yeah.
Mike Adams.
Yeah. Unless you
That's
want
a
to
good
talk
one.
about Larry, Moe, and Curly. You know who
We
they
can talk
are?
about that. Yes.
You do? Oh, good.
I wonder if their house is done.
I threw that in
Yeah.
last time, and yeah, shoot, Nancy Yolo was a little too young for Larry, Moe, and Curly.
All right, well,
I,
back to
I thought
regularly
it was
scheduled.
funny.
Back to your regularly scheduled program. Um, so back to the wine topic. Uh, so you weren't doing a lot of wine in the restaurant business. You were too young for that anyway. Not that you couldn't have snuck some, but do you remember once you started tasting wine, was there a first wine that made a lasting impression on you?
Uh, Actually, I do, and I'm gonna go back to my favorite rice, Tempranillo. I used to work with this older gentleman from Valladolid, Spain, and he was all into Riojas, which is mostly Tempranillo. And he gave it a try a few times, and I'm like, well, this is terrible. I probably was like 16 years old, and he's like, no, you gotta learn about wine. It's like flavors and all that stuff. And he's explaining it. I'm like, no, the one, this is not for me. Anyway, but when I started working in the industry here, I discovered more about Tempranillo and Paso. And I was like, oh, this is the wine that this old dude was trying to teach me about it. So I just started liking it a lot, and it's my favorite grape to work with, and one of my favorite wines to drink. And I'm not talking only my Tempranillo. I'm talking about when I go to a restaurant. I really enjoy those Riojas. One of my favorite producers, Muga. I really enjoy their wines.
What
Yeah.
give me that name again.
Muga. They are based in Spain. Obviously, you can find them in Total Wine and stuff like that. They're big producers, but their wines, I feel like they're really, you can find a very affordable bottle for under 35 to $40. Now you want to get a little more fancy, you can go all the way to a couple $100. And I had a chance to try a good amount of them, and
From
man,
that
they
same
never
producer.
disappoint. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. How do you spell that?
Muga.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Give it a
That,
try, you love. Anyway, but Tempranillo is why I am here with Diablo Paso, because I just love it. And my mentor actually was the one who got me more influence into, because he was big time into Spanish varieties. I was his name, Alan Kinne. Rest in peace. He passed away early this year, but he meant a lot to me in the industry. He taught me a lot. I think we worked together probably 18 harvests together. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I love Tempranillo. Do you have, um, aside from your outstanding Tempranillos, do you have some other favorite Tempranillos from the region?
For the Paso area, I like Edgar, Bodega de Edgar's. I had a chance to try. You guys mentioned Epic from Jordan. Who else here in Paso that I had their Tempranillo lately? Uh, I try. What's his name? This guy. It doesn't come in my head. You know, so many winemakers, and what is this guy? I really enjoy. Oh, Verinder from Copia. Yeah, I really like
Oh,
his Tempranillo too. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I haven't tried others lately. You know, it's like I don't go wine tasting, to be honest. When I go to events, I stop at there, see what they're pouring and stuff like that, you know. Or sometimes we exchange bottles here and there. But yeah, I
Uh,
really enjoy those. Yeah.
so, after you came out and started working your way up, uh, did you did you start your label straight from that winery? Did you work with any other wineries in between?
So I work I worked for Martin Weber for almost 10 years, and the reception back in the day, they got there in trouble, so the bank took over. So I had to move on. I went to a big winery, it's here in Shandon, you know, east from Paso. I worked there as a cellar master operations for a year and a half or so. And from there, I moved back to Paso because I want the more boutique, you know, the big winery was amazing experience for me. I can say I had 10,000 tons under my belt for one vintage. And but I moved back to Pacific Wine Services, a custom crush facility. My friend during that time owned it, so I kind of he hired me to help him, and then I moved from him to Cali Paso, which I still work in a Cali Paso winery. I'm the head winemaker now there. But to answer your question, Diablo Paso was established in 2012. And we started like pretty much every winemaker around here with 2 barrels of Tempranillo, and then I moved from there, you know, little by little, add more, and yeah, things like that. Yeah.
Got it. And Alan was an early mentor, right?
Yes. So Alan and I, he's the one who, him and Craig Reed hired me at Martin Wary, but we separated for a while with Alan because he moved to Oregon and then he went back to Virginia. Then we reunited back, Cali Paso team. He was the head winemaker, and I was his assistant in 2013 into 2021. We worked together, but before that period, that we worked another 6 or 8 years at Martin and Water together too. Yeah. Yeah, so he's Enrique, you got to do your own thing, and I got to get in my head. Actually, my whole thing started in 2005. I'm like, I'm gonna do my own thing one day. One day, I keep annoying all my friends and all the industry. They were like, this guy keep talking about that. In 2012, I'm like, I'm gonna do it for sure, and here I am. Yeah.
Nice. Any other mentors along the way?
Yeah, you know, besides Alan, he was amazing for me. Craig Reed as well. I've had the opportunity to work with different winemakers during that time when I work Pacific Wine Services. Dave Calcinaga, he's not in Paso anymore. I believe he moved either to Italy or he went back to Napa. Super smart winemaker, very different in many ways. So I learned a lot. You know, to me, it's always looking what can I get from, you know, like techniques. You know, everyone has their own techniques, and if I like it, I apply it. If I don't, I just doesn't. I don't do it. Yeah, yeah.
So, you get your winery started. What's the story behind the name?
I came from my family is big, typical Mexican family. You know, with a lot of kids. My parents, it was 11 of us, 6 girls, five boys, and I was a second boy in the family. So they wanted me to be the priest in the family. So when I found out, I didn't like that idea. So I was acting pretty wild. So I gained the nickname Diablito. And my siblings, everyone started calling me like that for a while until my mother one day is like, no more. So it went away. And when I started talking about my brand, I'm like, what am I gonna call it? So I decided to bring it the Diablo, So I'm like, you know what? Diablo is I'm not an evil person, but I'm like, this is it's very strong, very catchy. And I add Paso Robles Paso because Paso Robles, yeah.
That's
And
a
here
good
I am.
start.
I mean, we put a cross in the label to make it friendly, actually for my mother, because I knew my mother would not be happy about that. So we put the cross. The first thing she says, I can't believe you used that name, but I love that you put the cross, but you believe in God. And I'm like, yes, mom, I did it for you.
I
Yeah.
like that it's a childhood nickname and not just a catchy name. I like that there's more to
You know,
Yeah. Like I said, I was very lucky that it was available, to be honest, because it's like,
it.
it's a catchy name. Yeah.
Yeah.
and Catholicism and wine have a deep connection.
Very deep connection. Yes.
So you didn't stray from you didn't stray far. No.
No, it's just, like I said, to me, it's catchy. I be able to add Paso because Paso Robles to me was like, as simple as easy. Some people say Paso Diablo. I'm like, okay, it's okay. It's okay. I know what you mean. Yeah.
So your first vintage that you made was which one?
Or that I made, well, the first time I made wine for fun was in 2007. So I did my first barrel Tempranillo just for fun. It wasn't in the books. It was just to drink and share with everyone. And that was my first vintage that I 100% did it by myself. Besides working, I was already the assistant winemaker at Martin Wire, so the assistant always does 90% of the job.
Right,
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm sure my
Uh,
assistant probably gonna be doing saying the same thing. I just kidding.
and what did you make in that first vintage?
It was Tempranillo actually. I think I got about like zero point 0.8 tons, almost a ton, and I only ended with one barrel because I messed with those grapes a lot. I pulled a lot of the jacks, a lot of the berries I didn't feel like they were ripe. So I basically sort by hand every single berry. So I ended with one barrel of Tempranillo 2007 vintage. Yeah. Still have a few bottles here and there. I open a bottle. I open a bottle the other day. I share with a friend. He's like, "This is the best wine." I'm like, "No, it's not."
You- And are you typically sticking with the same varietals, vintage after vintage?
Yeah, with Diablo Paso, we stay with the Tempranillo. We have the Graciano, we have the Mataro, Garnacha. We do the Albarino, of course, and then I start working with Carignan as well because, as you know, it's a Spanish. So my whole goal with Diablo Paso is keep all the Spanish varieties, that they grow here. I found Mencia, but I'm not gonna be able to get it this year. But I'll have one of my growers that's gonna plant an acre for me. So, and we're trying to add Verdejo as well, but Verdejo is not available. I'm kind of specific where I want these varieties and what AVA. So I'm talking with my friend Octavio. He's gonna plant a few of those for me in the Adelaide district, which is one of my favorite districts. Yeah.
How are you selecting your fruit now?
Being in the industry, knowing a lot of growers and winemakers, and get along with everyone, that kind of helps me a lot. I've been waiting for be able to get grapes from Pepper Street because I really like the Ducey family. I know they've been doing it for a long, long time. So I was able to get my first grapes from them in 2022. So for now and on, I'm getting grapes from them. Actually, Tuesday they're picking Carignan for me. Yeah, so paying your bills in time helps a lot too.
Sure. And then just being around the area for so long and having good relationships sounds like it's helping.
Yeah, luckily I get along with everyone so far, so hopefully keep it that way. Yeah.
Do you have, when you're not drinking your own wine, do you have any other favorite wineries or winemakers in the area?
I do, I appreciate every wine. To me, I do when I go to places or we exchange bottles and stuff I like to support everyone. I buy a few bottles here and there, and I have in my wine cooler, I have right now I have a few bottles of Cropia, I had a few bottles of Bodega de Edgar. I had some stuff from what's his name, Indigenous in downtown. I also had Jason Bouchon. I mean, I like to support the small guys. Nothing against the big ones, but I like those wines. Yeah.
We're with you on that. That's kind of our approach here too. Not that we don't like the big guys, we just like to give some extra support to the smaller
Yeah.
producers.
Absolutely.
What's the? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I coughed.
Oh, sorry, I thought somebody said something. Uh, Enrique, what's the most challenging part of making wine?
Uh, well, the whole thing starts in the vineyard. To me, is the weather. The weather is unpredictable. You have to play what the Mother Nature brings you, and then from there it gets in the cellar and it's in your hands. I feel like that's the most challenging part. The winemaking is all about your attention and details and your techniques and stuff like that. I don't see any techniques being wrong or better. It's just what you learn over the years and what you put into the varieties. To me, I like to have most of my wines are single varieties. I like to show the variety without influence too much and adding additions like I do use commercial yeast and stuff like that, of course. And I'm a big fan of barrels. I'm not sure you can test in my Tempranillo. Tempranillos they can handle oak very well. Special Americano is my favorite. But to answer your questions, I feel like Mother Nature is the one is the harder you control that. Like you got too much heat, not enough rain and stuff like that. So I feel like that's the most challenging. I know I'm not a grower, but it's my job has to do a lot with Mother Nature, and that's probably the most challenging one because
Sure.
you never know. Yeah.
Right, no doubt. In 23, we know it's a special vintage. Uh, you're still kind of at the tail end of 24 here. Still got what a few to bring in, but what's your general assessment on 24 so far?
24 is not in my opinion, I feel like it's definitely coming faster and it's slow and faster. Right now is a really fast pace, and I'm like, oh wow, what happened? It's again the weather. I feel like a lot of the varieties are lacking the acidity again. Like in
Yeah,
2022, I remember it was no acid. This year, I feel like it's happening again. And like these varieties, for example, Graciano is one of the varieties that has the highest acidity, in my opinion. And surprisingly, I got my Graciano yesterday, and we ran, numbers, and I'm like, boy, where is the acid in this thing? And it makes sense because other varieties don't have the same acidity too. So we're gonna have to play around and make it taste good. Yeah.
the even years lately seem to be the winemaker vintages, where it really shows your winemaker skills. These even years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want yeah you I don't know when is the perfect vintage, all right?
The
One of
what?
my favorite. I don't know when is the perfect vintage, right? It's like when you get your grapes and it's like you decide what you're gonna do with that, and that's how I base my winemaking. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so what's
I have a question, Jason.
yeah.
So when we spoke on Monday, Enrique, so you're head winemaker. This is for me. I have a interest. Your approach to Cali Paso, which is widely distributed wine, and then your own. It, how do you shift from one to the other? Is there a different approach you take to more mass production than a small production? Just curious.
Yeah, we even for Cali Paso we do small lots. We just released some new reserve wines that are like very limited produced, like 120, 150 cases of those. But yeah, Cali Paso is a winery. We produce around. I mean, we have capacity to do a pretty good amount of cases. We don't fully do that, but for Cali Paso we produce between 5 to 10,000, some 15,000 cases in there. So it's not really that big, but to answer your question, yeah, it's a different approach. We use different equipment, or we get it from different vineyards as well. With Cali Paso, our distribution side is like we have everything machine picked most of the time. Now, for my own brand, it's all hand picked at nighttime, and that's part of our whole thing with my growers. Like you pick at nighttime when it's it's better for the fruit. I feel like I know it's not fun to be working at nighttime, but the crew is actually it's not as hot. You don't want to expose the fruit in the crew as well when it's 100+ degrees. But yeah, Cali Paso is a different project we do, and we do the small produce size as well, like the same way I do mine. So I go back and forth.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that you're one of the first guests we've had on that's on both sides of it. Some have come from the other side, from the larger production. I know that 50,000 cases under is still considered small production, but
Yeah.
in our minds, in this group, more or less, 3,500 cases is like what we consider small production or 5,000 and under small production in Paso. But I find that
Yeah.
fascinating how you approach it. Of course, the contracts and the way you pick your own fruit for your own label is a different approach. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, for example, Diablo Paso, we have some reserves. We do barrel ferment. You guys familiar with that? You take the heads of barrels, ferment the grapes and the barrels introduced in the oak when it's still early and it doesn't impact the wine has much. It's definitely there, but it's more well integrated. Most of our reserve wines are that style, which our reserve wines are between 2 to 4 barrels max produced per year. Yeah.
Very interesting. Sorry,
Yeah.
Jason, I
Yeah,
interjected.
no, it's a great question. I mean, and to your point, Mike, I don't think we've talked to anybody yet that has to wear those two different hats. That's
Right.
pretty unique.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, so what's the most exciting part? You know what the difficult part is there, and somewhat of a common theme, especially with that weather. But what's the most exciting part? Where do you get the most energy from in making wine?
To me, it's always is like the the product I'm gonna put in the bottle, share with everyone. That's exciting to me. I love the expressions to see people when they try my wine. Everyone has a different palate, and I highly respect that. But I really enjoy sharing my wines with everyone. I feel like I make wines that are everyday wine, and they're easy to drink by themselves or food friendly wines. So that made me excited. I like food, and wine is a big part of food, and especially in your wine fanatics. There's wine fanatics. That makes me excited and happy to be able to share my wines to many people. They're at their house, with their special time with their family or friends and enjoying a wine. And that's what I love. Yeah.
I'm going to focus on one grape here. I know you make several really well. But what's your favorite pairing with Tempranillo? Food pairing.
You know what? I would like my favorite pairings with Tempranillo is very simple. I love a good red meat, but I also love a good just a tapa. It can be manchego with cheese with jamon serrano, and I'm happy with that. And one of the beauties about Tempranillo, in my opinion, it just has that capacity to pair well with the small bites, or you want to go more like heavy in the heavy side. I love grilling. One of my favorite steaks right now, and it's been for months, is a ribeye. I just love it, and it's usually Tempranillo or something else. I always red, but I love Tempranillo. Yeah, what can I say? Yeah,
Classic pairing for sure.
yeah.
Um, Enrique, we like to get when we have experts on like you, we like to get a pro tip on uh, how maybe we can consume wine differently or better. Anything from how we buy it, how we store it, how we drink it, anywhere in between. Can you share a pro tip or multiple pro tips if you have them?
To me is the wine you buy is I always use this say that you never know. I'll say pop the cork and enjoy it and no regrets. That's what I think.
I like it.
Yeah.
Down and
I,
dirty.
Right?
and I think we all subscribe to that too.
Well, I got to tell you, when you go to wine tasting at the wineries, It's pop the cork mostly. And then that's what you can expect when you get home. I don't know how much trouble everybody goes through they might open the bottle up for a while, but do they toss it a couple times? Everybody does something different. Laura, yeah.
Um, I am curious, okay, you're like this Tempranillo that I'm enjoying. It's only a 14% and change ABV,
Yes.
14.1. Is that a deliberate attempt to kind of nod to the old world, or is there another reason for that? Because that's obviously unusual, especially for a Tempranillo in Paso. Can you
Yeah,
talk about
one of the things that I learned about a technique of winemaking, for me, I like my wines more approachable. I feel like in the heavy side, there's nothing wrong with that. And this is Paso. Uh, I like the style of the La Rioja, and I'm trying to actually pick in the early side instead of go too ripe. And with that intention, you produce lower alcohol, and it has all the components, let sit in the skins longer to get more dust tannins. But the alcohol to me is like I never passed my Tempranillo 14.6. I think is the highest that I produce at Tempranillo, and I'm always very careful with that. I've produced Tempranillos. At Tempranillo was called Joven. It's sold out by now. I've only aged it for 5 months in neutral American oak. It was only 12.6% alcohol, and it was a wine that I call it Joven because it means a young. Spain has those Tempranillos actually. And that Tempranillo, you chill it, you just drink it if you don't want anything red because it's too hot. I call it the bridge between rosé and red wine. And I could not figure out when to pick this year, so I couldn't make it this year because the weather kind of tricked me a little bit. So it has to be in the 22 and a half, 23 high, bricks the highest. But to answer your question, my regular Tempranillos, I stay usually in the 14 to 14.8, so 6 the highest. Yeah. And I feel like it has that niche that's more approachable by itself and also pairs amazing well with different types of food. Yeah.
I did not look at the ABV on there, but I'm going to tell you that comes off like a full body red to me, and which I enjoy. But I would if this was 14.1 also.
Yeah. I should
Very,
stay in that
very,
range.
very, very good.
Thank you. It's the dangerous wines, I would say.
It's what?
right?
They're kind of dangerous. They get you. Yeah.
Uh, can you talk about your current lineup, what you have available now, and then anything you'd like to tell us about your club?
So what we have available right now, we still have a little bit of the Albarino left. Our Albarino is the only white wine that we produce. And unfortunately, my grower already told me that I'm only gonna be able to get half of what I normally get. But like I said, again, it's the weather, and I am very into that vineyard, so I only produce Albarino out of that vineyard. It's called Jack Ranch, and that's in San Luis Obispo. So we still have that available, maybe another month or so. And then we have our rosé almost sold out, which we're gonna be bottling our 2024 rosé in the next 2 weeks. I just ordered glass today. I bottled my rosé really early, as soon as it's dry. I like to keep that natural effervescence in it. And that rosé, we submit our wines for a competition. If I'm allowed to tell you guys a little bit about that.
Please.
Okay, so for the first time in our for our brand, I submit wines to Sunset International Wine Competition. The rosé won 98 points out of 100, best rosé in the show. It's almost sold out, which is great. The Tempranillo you're drinking as well beat up. It came out best Tempranillo Reserve and international as well, 97 points.
Wow.
And the 2021, the one Mike is drinking, got a gold, which is 95 points at that too. Those all of them are available. But where I'm going with that, I'm very proud of myself. I'm like, I never did this before, submit my wines, and now I'm like, I want to submit to everyone. No, just kidding. I'm very happy to be able to share those wines with me and like with everyone, and it makes me super, super proud. But you can go, everyone can go online and see what we have available, and we offer in that discount that's 20% off for any purchase for the whole month of this month, which is the Halloween month.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
So treat yourself, in other words.
Yeah,
Um,
and our wine club is more info on the website. Our wine club is super friendly. It's called Amigos Wine Club. It's like the commitment is 6 bottles twice a year, and you choose what you want. Uh, Basically, you want Tempranillo only, you get only Tempranillo. So we allow our customers to customize. And we just released our Reserve Club, which is Crianza, which means like reserve. That one is one case is fixed price for 3 years. Instead of charging you single by the bottle, we charge a fixed price of 12 bottles for 3 years minimum. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do this because my growers are raising the prices of the grapes every year. But we just launched that one, and it's a lot of our members or new guests that we have a test room that join because it's just a good deal. It's a $666 for a case of reserve wines, and we're not talking about reserves. These wines are actually treated as reserves, and that's a reserve program, which just includes Max and Nico label, which is our second label to do non-Spanish varieties. That label allow us to do like Cab Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Petit Verdot, Malbec, and Syrah as well. So that those the members got a choice, first choice to choose one of those wines as well.
is
Yeah.
that under a different label?
Yeah, so in 2019, I launched Max and Nico, which is the name of my two boys. And the reason I did is because I want to keep Diablo Paso 100% Spanish varieties in the label. So I'm like, I want to be able to make Syrah, Cabernet, a lot of those varieties as well. They grow amazingly well here. So I decided to do that, and it's been really well received. In fact, those wines, we only pour them in the weekends at Diablo Paso test run. And the reason we do only the weekends because we produce from 50 cases to 75 cases the most for those wines. Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a special tasting over there. Worth coming out to visit.
Please let me know when you guys do.
I see,
Absolutely.
I see you have a rental too.
Yes, we do have a Airbnb. It's called Casa Amigos. It's a small one. It's a walking distance to downtown. It's in Olive Street and 16th Street. And we rent those through the Airbnb, but mostly through our wine club members. So our wine club members get a really good deal on like, hey, you go buy a case of wine and you get a special rate and for the Airbnb. And it's a 100-year-old home. We renovated 2 years ago. So it's pretty much a new house and super comfy. Besides that, a winemaker and a super host. I gained that position from Airbnb. But I always surprise my guests. I always lead in a bottle of wine. Obviously, it's Diablo Paso. Depends on the weather. You should do red or rosé or Albarino. Actually, not Albarino anymore because I'm almost out. But I welcome them with a bottle of wine. And then they can go to the test room. I also give them free testing if they stay in our Airbnb. Yeah,
Very good.
You
yeah.
mentioned earlier that you like using American oak. What is it you like about that over the French oak?
American oak, I like French oak, but American oak to me brings use this word, the typicity of the Tempranillo, because Tempranillo and American oak work really well together. Tempranillo is one of the types great when you ferment it needs, or even its ability needs more oxygen. American oak provides that, and besides the heavy tobacco leathery profile. It has bigger pores, so that means more oxygen during eligibility for the Tempranillo. And to me, it's the best oak. And I'm not saying I know everything, but it's best oak in Tempranillo for me. Like I do French oak as well, other varieties, and I do it here and there with Tempranillo. And I always like the upcoming, the American oak. In fact, the one that you have is 100% new American oak for 26 months.
Wow.
Um, and the oak is very, very influenced at the beginning, but well, after 18 months, I feel like it started kind of like really well integrated with the wine. And this American oak is actually they source the oak from United States and they take it to La Rioja, Spain. These coopers is called Magriñan. They've been making barrels since the 1800s. So when we order the barrels, they made the barrels and they ship it back to us. So that's how we get our American oak from La Rioja. Yeah.
Uh, have you been to Spain?
No, you know what? When I had the time, I didn't have the budget. Now I have the budget, I don't have the time. So I got to figure out. My goal is to do El Camino and maybe in 2 years. I want to just go do the walk for I want to disappear for a while and just do that, and that's on my bucket list, and hopefully I can do it. Yeah.
We're shooting for next year to go do that.
Oh, cool.
I've talked
The
to you
whole
about it.
Camino?
Well, somewhere probably Rioja, TBD.
Nice.
You know, have to keep my wife happy with Barcelona, Madrid, and whoever knows what else. As long as I can go to
That's
Rio.
cool. Yeah.
Uh, Congratulations on those scores, by the way. Is
Yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
absolutely.
is next
Yeah.
up Jeb Dunnick, or where do you go next?
What? I'm sorry?
Uh, Next, you mentioned maybe getting some other ratings. Would you go to Jeb Dunnick next, or where would you go next?
Yeah, probably. We submit to Jeff Suckling, but unfortunately, our wines probably shot late. He didn't get a chance to test them, and but probably gonna do with what's his name?
Jeb
The one you
Parker.
mentioned.
Jeb
Well,
Dunnick.
yeah, I'm not gonna submit to everyone. I'm very lucky. The Sunset's doing a huge promotion for us for a full year since we win two best class. I submit five wines, so two of them win best class. Which is pretty amazing. So they're gonna do the digital for a full year. They just yeah, they're gonna do it for us, which is I'm looking forward. Yeah.
Well, very nice. So, if you're okay with it, I'd
We have
like to
some
open
questions.
it up to questions from the group, and we'll start with the questions that already got dropped in the chat, if that's all right.
I got one here. I think this person probably knows you. Just from the question from Silver. Is your family in Mexico big wine drinkers? What did
No,
they
they're
think about
not.
your wine?
They don't drink. Actually, they do drink some of my wines, but I made this dessert wine that they like out. And after they've been drinking that, obviously they will drink anything that is related with alcohol.
Uh, Laura's asking, low acidity. Does that mean we should drink them early?
Yes, the wines with low acidity definitely drink a little early for sure because there's not much life in there.
Let's see what else we have. Anybody else have a question? Just blurt them out. Anybody else?
So Laura asked about the variety. I don't even know how to say that.
Oh
Shan
yeah, that's a good question.
Shanquay?
Yeah. Shenquay? Shenquay?
Shanquay?
What the hell do
Which
I know?
one?
I don't speak the language. It's on your it's on your list of wines. Shenquay.
Oh, Chaneke. Chaneke is a
Sheneke.
blend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's an Aztec word. Actually, it means devil in Aztec. Is this wine is a blend of Tempranillo Graciano, 60 Tempranillo, 40% Graciano.
Oh,
I
okay.
only made that blend every 6 years. I know how this rule about that blend. 2013 and 2019 is, and for some reason I just like to make that one every 6 years. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make another one. It's a fun blend. It's 60% Tempranillo, 40% Graciano, and it's all in New York. It's a wine that definitely has some serious power. The alcohol is still not up there. So I believe the 2019 is 14.5, maybe 14.4. I'm not, I haven't tried that one in a while, but yeah, it's a blend. I
So
like to use,
it's
go
not
ahead.
in your current lineup available, right? Yeah.
No, that one actually, we only sell bottles at the test room. We don't even pour the wine. Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So
That was a good
if
question.
somebody comes to taste on the weekend, they can try both lineups, Diablo Paso and
And Max and Nico.
Master
Yeah.
Winemaker.
Yes.
And what I miss.
I'm laughing.
That's a good one.
I'm not laughing. Somebody asked me, this guy at the end of the sofa has a
His
question.
lips isn't. Yeah.
He looks inebriated. So,
Got it. That's pretty
anyway,
good.
that,
Silver
that
asked
caught me
you,
by surprise. Never
are
mind.
you Oh, okay. So we just answered that. Yeah, Silver, on the weekends you can taste Max and Nico.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can test the Max and Nico Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah. Currently, we're pouring our Cab Franc. Also, actually, the Cab Franc we submitted to Wine Challenge competition international, won best Cab Franc in the competition as well, which has got those results actually. And we're doing a Bordeaux blend in our GSM, which is called Chingon de Paso, traditional GSM Grenache Mauvais. Yeah.
Very nice.
Very good. Anybody else have a question?
I don't have a question. I'm just saying thank you. I have not had the opportunity yet to stop at your tasting room I've gone by when you've been closed and looked in. And learning more about what you're doing tonight and hearing all the different things. I'm definitely excited to taste some of your wines and see what you
Thank
have
you.
going on. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, we really appreciate you joining us tonight, Enrique. And
I am very happy you guys have me in your group doing the Zoom and and in my house enjoying wine and talking with you guys and telling my story. Cheers.
that's what it's all
Cheers.
about.
It's a good story. Thank you for your time.
Great
We
story,
appreciate
great
it.
guests, and we really enjoyed hearing your story. And we wish you all the best in the future. And
Thank you so much.
we'll all try to get by there our
Yeah.
next trip up.
Anytime. I'm always around. If not around, it's gonna be because I'm doing the walk. Or fishing,
well-
hopefully.
It's a busy time right now. How is harvest going, actually?
It's harvest going well. Like I say, it's rushing right now because the heat is intense. But there's so much we can do. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. The discount in the for the whole month is going Wine Fanatics. That's the code for the discount on our website. Yeah,
I put
and
it up
that's a Diablo Paso
yesterday.
Wines.
That's
Yeah.
for the whole month of October. I'll post it up
Yeah.
again. And make sure everybody has a chance to take advantage of the opportunity. And we'll have have this posted shortly by tomorrow. I'll have the video up and make sure we let everybody know that there's an opportunity to get some of your wine at a discount. Thank
That's
you
right.
so much. We really appreciate your time. And thank you so much for joining us. It was nice talking to you, and you're a wonderful guest.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and hopefully we can meet you in person when you visit Paso. Let me know.
Thanks, Enrique.
I'm
Thank
there
you.
a couple times
Thank
a
you.
year. Thank
All
you,
right.
Enrique.
Take care. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks,
Take care.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Mm.
I forgot earlier. I thought I need to say because Colleen's your biggest fan, but I forgot.